today we're going to be taking a look at the Ronin Warriors. And this show just happens to be a Sentai. And note, I said a Sentai, not a hentai. It's just like, not nerd, node. Well anyways, just to sum it all up, in case you don't know what a Sentai is that basically, it's like Power Rangers. I know it's kind of a lazy explanation there, but seriously though, I'm willing to bet that more than half the people that are watching this at least knows what Power Rangers is. But with all that aside, let's start talking about the story. So it takes place in Japan, and it seems like there's gonna be some big shit is about to happen, and that big shit just happens to be Lord Talpa, and he just wants to conquer the world with his 4 dark warlords. It's some pretty standard stuff for sure. So after this, it kind of takes focus to a girl named Mia, who happens to be a student teacher. And she's very smart for knowing all about the mystical armors and the ancient artifacts. So while she goes out, she ends up seeing this one guy who's walking around town very casually with a pet tiger. And there's a whole bunch of news reporters surrounding him because, you know, that's not something you see every day. Until moments later, shit hits the fan, and that's when Lord Talpa ends up rising and ends up sending off a whole bunch of soldiers to kill everybody. And so it turns out that that casual guy walking around with the tiger is named Ryo. And he happens to be the unofficial leader of the Ronin Warriors, who happens to have the red armor of Wildfire. So he ends up taking on a dynasty soldier on his own with his tiger, but that's not going so hot. So then of course there's other Ronin Warriors that appear. So there's Kento, who happens to wear the orange armor of Hard Rock. And then there's Sage, who happens to have the green armor of Halo. Wait a minute, green armor and Halo. I guess you can say this guy is the original Master Chief. And then there's Sai, who happens to have the light blue armor of Torrent. And finally there's Rowan, who happens to have the indigo armor of Strata. So those are the main characters of the Ronin Warriors. But one thing I do find interesting about these characters is that they are actually slightly based after real samurais. For an example, you have Ryo, who is kinda like Yukimura Sanada. And Sage is a lot like Masamune Dante. And Rowan is a lot like Hideyoshi Toyotomi. So I found that was pretty interesting. So after they appear and help out Ryo, Mia and an 8-year-old boy named Yuli end up getting caught in the middle of the mess and end up getting captured. So the Ronin Warriors want to help them out, but of course they gotta take out the Dynasty Soldier first. And after that, I think everything else is pretty obvious. You know, the soldier gets defeated and then she ends up getting rescued. And while the entire city is under deep shit, Mia and Yuli and of course the Ronin Warriors are all trying to survive together and of course trying to take out Talpa and his 4 minions. And that's literally all I have to say about the story. It's really that basic. But I think that's supposed to be expected, especially from a show like this. Because another thing I'll say is that this show can be pretty goofy sometimes. But it's nothing too over the top. I'd say it's very much a product of its time, considering there's a whole lot of cheesy one-liners. So yeah, that's all I really gotta say about the story is that yes, it's very simple, very basic, but it at least works okay. So now, let's move on to other things like the animation, and all I have to say here is that I think it looks pretty good. So it may not be like overly amazing looking, but I do think it does work fine for what it is, but one of the main things I do like about it is that the character designs are pretty awesome. I'll be honest, that's probably one of the reasons why I kinda wanted to watch this show. Then again, in case you don't know me, I'm kind of a sucker when it comes to things that kinda look like samurais and robots, so yeah, it was kind of a given for me. So not only do I like the look of the main characters, but I also like the way how the villains look too. Hell, I'd say they even look a lot more badass. And the fight scenes also do look pretty good, so with that being said, I do find that the animation is pretty good for the time. And now, as for the music, well, I do find that the music in this show is kind of forgettable, honestly, at least when it comes to the music within the show. But when it comes to the opening theme song, well, I freaking love it. But I'm talking about the Japanese one called Stardust Eyes. So it's just catchy as hell and I just love it a whole lot. Even the second opening's pretty good too. But yeah, as for the music within the show itself, yeah, unfortunately, it's just not nearly as good. But it isn't really bad either, but just like I said, it's just not really memorable. It's just kinda there. And now, let's get moving on and talk about the voice acting. And it's about damn time that this year we're finally getting into an anime that has an English release. And for the most part, it's pretty damn bad, but to say the least, it is at least cheesy and it is fucking hilarious at times. So some of the actors you got here are Matt Hill, Ward Perry, Jason Stanford, Michael Donovan, Leilani Lindbergh, and finally I'll mention is David Kay. And as I said, the voice acting is pretty damn bad, but it is at least entertaining because it is really cheesy and just pretty damn funny at times. But at least it does suit the writing is all, but other than that though, it's just not that good. So now, let's talk about the score, and this one, I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. So meaning that it's above average, but you know what? Sometimes that's actually not entirely a bad thing. Because this show is just mindless fun, but is it at least smart? Oh god no, it's not smart at all. Actually, it's pretty fucking stupid if you ask me. But I'll give it credit that at least this show doesn't try to be more than that. Like, could you imagine if this show was advertised as being like some super serious psychological show? Yeah, that just obviously wouldn't happen. So yes, this is not the type of show you'd watch if you want to like learn about something new or something that's really gonna make you think. This is just one of those shows that you just want to watch, relax, and just put on some mindless fun shit. And that fun shit just being incredibly cheesy. So with that being said, this show is definitely not going to be for everyone there, but if you go into it expecting it to be like that, then I can at least say it's at least a decent show to watch. And keep in mind, I actually never grew up watching this show. This is actually my first time seeing it. And as I said, it's not bad, but it's definitely not great, but it is at least amusing for what it is.